Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
I'm muted, yes I am. This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 811. This is the Indy Report. I hope you guys are having an outstanding Wednesday. This is probably gonna be one or more of the shorter shows today. I got a lot of things going on right after the show, in between shows. I gotta also do MD tonight. So I will get to it. My co-hosts are all currently on assignment, but welcome to episode 811 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora. All things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David L. Rhodes. My partners in crime, Tariq Wilson, Jeffrey Johnson, and Brandon King, all three of them are on assignment. We are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Shout out to A&T Roy for checking in. Really appreciate that. I don't know where to start today, to be honest with you guys. We could probably start with what's going on with the APR. So there was some big news that happened yesterday regarding the APR from some of the SWAC football programs and SWAC basketball for one of the programs. 3 of the 12 members for football are under the 930 4-year average academic progress rate threshold. Those 3 institutions are Florida A&M University, Mississippi Valley State University, and Alabama A&M University, all 3 members of the SWAC East. We already were aware about Florida A&M, but all the APR numbers came out. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Data Driven HBCU. He's pretty much created databases and has all the data nice and pretty for folks to look at it. And you can break it down by sport. You can break it down by however you want. So shout out for him for setting up that well. So he also got data with regards to the finances and some of the institutions of most of the HBCUs as well. I highly recommend to go check out datadrivenhbcu.com and check out some of the stuff that he has with regards to that. Now the kicker with Alabama A&M's, they filed a waiver and the waiver was granted. So they will still be eligible for postseason play. Mississippi Valley and Florida A&M will not be. That being said, it's kind of rough. I think it's awful. I know folks will say, well, with the transfer portal, it makes it difficult. But at the same time, we have 21 HBCUs that plays football, and then 2 out of the 21 are the ones that got 3 out of the 21 that got caught up with being under the threshold, and some of that might be due to the previous regime. I just think we have to just try to figure out a better way to navigate through this. I've talked about Florida A&M's challenges in the past, and we know about Valley's challenges when it comes to resources. But if we're going to be Division I, this is part of it. Somebody on Twitter posted the average APR rate for pretty much all the conferences, and SWAC is last. MEAC's not too far behind. CAA's is not that far off either. But I say all that to say is that we have to try to come up and figure out a better way to try to make sure our students can continue to have the academic progress and try to make sure they understand that they have to go to class. And I know that's a challenge for some institutions, but I think it's not impossible. So I just think from that regard, we as a whole have to do better. But shout out to Jackson State. They have the highest APR in football in the SWAC. So shout out to them. They had an APR with 961. Alabama State wasn't too far behind at 953, and Prairie View was at 948. Grambling had 946. So overall, I mean, those institutions will show you that it's not impossible to do. So I think that as a whole, we have to get better at making sure that we put in the proper resources to make sure these students are going to class and continue their academic progress. Now, the transfer portal does create a wrinkle in this as well. You know, when it comes to how that goes, if they get stuck in the portal, that could potentially impact you. Fortunately, we have not seen that as much. There are potential players who do end up stuck in the portal, but a lot of folks, overall we've done okay. Could be better, but we've done okay. But we have right now, as of right now, there's 2 members of the SWAC East that won't be eligible to go to the SWAC Championship or the Celebration Bowl. Their games will still count towards conference play for the other institutions, but they're not eligible to go to the SWAC Championship. Now, based on my projections, Alabama and A&M would have been a big loss if they didn't get the waiver. I didn't have FAM or Valley having a shot to win the East. A&M is like my sleeper team, but I still think they're probably about a year away. Sam Shade still has to do what they got to do with regards to that. I think this is going to be between pretty much Bama State and Jackson. It's going to be them two duking it out for the championship there. But I mean, that was some big news. Another topic that I wanted to bring up was regarding the cancellation of North Carolina A&T versus North Carolina State in baseball. Shout out to HBCU Sports. They wrote an article on what happened with regards to that. Both schools mutually agreed to cancel the game, but now people are suspecting part of the reasoning of why North Carolina State doesn't want to play that game is because of what it could impact. The impact of it doesn't really buy them anything from an RPI standpoint. They're right now they're fighting to get into the NCAA tournament, most likely as an at-large. So they needed to have that. They needed games that was going to help them with their RPI. And unfortunately, Fortunately, A&T 3 and I think they're 3-21 in the conference, 3-21 or 3-18 in the CAA. They only got 3 conference wins. I know that much. They haven't won a single series the entire season. Fun fact: we've only lost 1 game against the Big South, and I believe only 1 game against the MEAC. But but in the CAA we've only won 3. So North Carolina State's thought was, hey, we kind of don't really need to play this game. It's not really going to help us. If we lose to them, we're pretty much out of the playoffs. So we're out of getting to the postseason. So we're not going to really play this game. Let's can it. Let's cancel it, right? I mean, North Carolina State, A&T's RPI is like 281, which is very, very low, but they've had a rough season in conference. They've beaten some pretty good teams out of conference. Like they beat the #1 team in the Big South the other week in Winthrop. So they've been able to do pretty well against out of conference opponents. But in conference opponents, they've been struggling pretty bad, struggling mightily. So that being said, I thought that was a fascinating story regarding North Carolina State. I think while right now that's in the context of football, of baseball, this is going to turn into a basketball and a football story as well long term. We're already kind of seeing it in basketball. Certain schools don't want to play some of our better teams within the conference. So we're already kind of seeing it anyway, but I think it's going to become more prevalent, particularly on that end of the spectrum. The running joke right now in Greensboro with the A&T alum right now is that, man, I hope Georgia calls us to cancel that game that we got against them in 2030. Because I have no interest in seeing it. I'm pretty sure Howard was hoping that Indiana was going to cancel their game against them in this season. But that ain't gonna happen either. That's not gonna happen. But maybe, just maybe, they'll start doing it, because if it starts to impact their chances of making the postseason, especially if they expand the FBS playoffs, the college football playoff, 24 teams, which my personal opinion, I think is gonna happen. Then teams are going to less likely want to do money games against our smaller schools, the FCS and HBCUs, because it doesn't help them. It hurts them. They're going to start opting to play better teams. Shout out to Shout out to my main man, Adam. Oh, my God. It's better than here, man. I'm still waiting for some more warm weather up here in New England. It's starting to get there, though. Shout out to you, sir. Shout out to Chuck Hunt. But yeah, so that side of the spectrum was fascinating to me because I think we're seeing it in baseball. I think we're going to start seeing it more. We're already kind of seeing it in basketball, and it's going to happen more in football. So I think when it comes to scheduling, I think we have to be more tighter when it comes to that. And I think we will, as a whole, we will. And it's funny, it's interesting because Hampton is playing an FBS program for the first time probably ever. I think some of those folks told me, but I'll defer to my HG Powership brothers on that. But they're playing Maryland this year. So curious to see how long that's going to last. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think we're still going to play our rivals on the HBCU front. But you know, I don't think we could. I don't think we're going to have issues scheduling FCS programs. Because we have so many conferences right now that are clawing for more out of conference games. So I don't think so. Yeah, I thought that was the first time you guys that Hampton's playing the FBS program. I hope the payday is good, man. Hope they're paying you guys some good money. I don't think Georgia's paying us enough for what we got to go through, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the first commercial break. When we come back, I want to discuss this whole situation with South Carolina State. I want to kind of dig into it a little bit. So we'll be right back after the first break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you've got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay. That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. It might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 811. This is the Indy Report. And so last week, during the show last week, we had a discussion about the whole situation going on down in South Carolina State with the lieutenant governor is supposed to be speaking at the commencement. The students protested. Initially, it sounded like she definitely was coming. And then the president of the school rescinded the invitation for her to speak at a commencement. The students were very happy. Folks within the alumni base was happy. They had a board of trustees meeting. They decided to remove all the faculty representation within the board, the student representation within the board when it comes from a voting standpoint. They immediately did that right after this. The chair of the board made the decision, Douglas Gant, which I still think should step down. He made the decision to go ahead and take ownership of he was the one that invited her with kind of no thought process about how it would impact the students and things of that sort. And then fast forward to now, and the foundation of South Carolina State Foundation, which is a separate entity from the university, is suing the university, including the president and the chair. And I started going through the lawsuit and the claims within said lawsuit, and I found it fascinating. They kind of was making it seem like the president and the board of trustees was basically trying to bully them into giving funding for things from their own doing, so to speak. The timing of this is fascinating to me, considering what just occurred with regards to the speaker, the commencement speaker. And so I just want to have the discussion and just pretty much say, be aware of what's going on at your institutions outside of athletics. Have some awareness about who's on the board. Have some awareness about who and what they represent that's on that board. Even if it's just and folks might feel away. Just because they're alumnus doesn't mean they're going to be for the institution. Just because they look like us doesn't mean they're going to be for the institution. So you have to be mindful of all those things and always stay active within your alumni base, within your circle, and understand what's going on at the university. Are you going to agree with every decision they make? Absolutely not. But I think it's very important that we have to be aware, considering the states that a lot of our institutions are in, and considering everything that's going on now. It's more critical that we have awareness about what's going on within our institutions and the leadership that's there, from the president to the board, because we've been underfunded. Public institutions as a whole have been underfunded for forever. South Carolina State's owed over $500 million from the state of South Carolina. But they also use their lack of resources, their lack of enrollment as an excuse to cut them. I mean, after they uninvited the lieutenant governor, they had politicians out here talking about defunding the school. And I was like, well, I mean, you ain't really giving the money they're supposed to be getting anyway. I mean, you're not hurting them as much as you think you are as well, because you already hurt them. So, but yeah, so it is very fascinating watching this unfold, and I'm kind of concerned, because the purpose of the foundation is to help the university. Now, if there's colors of money and certain things of that sort, then that's a whole different discussion point, right? And I think the case is going to get settled out in court. I just don't know if South Carolina State doesn't need another law, doesn't need a lawsuit right now with everything that's been going on. And that's just my take on it. But I do want to say, I've always bantered with those guys. I'm from South Carolina, for those who don't know. I'm originally from Columbia. So you're talking 30 to 45 minutes away from Orangeburg. So I know that area pretty well. So that place got a heart, and I have family members who went to that school. I have my sister-in-law went to that school. One of my nieces went to that school. So I bash them on the athletic side because it's fun. But when from a serious standpoint, when it comes to when you think about the states that these institutions are in, we have to be more mindful about who's running the school. And I'm not saying set the whole situation on fire when you don't have a leader. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just be aware and pay attention, because there are folks who do not want us. They don't want these institutions open, and a lot of times, we get into full panic mode. But sometimes you can see the cracks beforehand. All right, let me go ahead and get through some of these chats. Shout out to Walter. Shout out to Livingstone College, man. They keep getting these phantom donations. It's great. I love it. I love seeing the growth of Livingstone College, and I think it's going to continue to grow. Yeah, man, like it's kind of wild to think that it's come down to this. Like, I mean, my alma mater has a foundation. It used to be a scholarship foundation. They turned it into a real estate foundation. But the chancellor was involved in it. I could probably go check real quick to see who's on the board, because I'm kind of curious, but it's fascinating to see. Shout out to Jonathan McGriff. Shout out to Ed Waters, man. They ain't been Division II that long. They already taking championships down. So shout out to them for winning the baseball championship. Shout out to them. Yeah, that last one is key. And vote. I know with the Voting Rights Act getting struck down or getting not as strong as it used to be based on the previous Supreme Court case, I think that it's funny because South Carolina right now was strongly considering doing a redistrict of the state. And I think somebody smartened up and realized it could potentially turn into 3 very tough districts to win. And I think somebody caught on that it would turn into 3 very difficult districts to win. It's not a guarantee. 40% of that state voted for Kamala Harris, so it's not a shoo-in that the redistricting would work like they think it would work. They will be in a hard fight, and this ain't the year to do it, considering everything that's been going on in the world. Politically speaking, it's going to be a rough ride. Every state's congressional map is up for grabs because of the Supreme Court decision regarding. Yeah, we just like I was saying, man. In some states, it might not be that easy to do, and the other side could do the same thing in some of their states. I know Virginia just did it, made a 10-1 map, if I remember correctly. So you have a way to counteract it, but the kicker is that it becomes more threatening in the South for them because of there's a higher percentage of Black folks that live in the South. So if we get out and vote, we can actually still shake the table a little bit and scare them a little bit, or at least at a minimum force them to actually do their job. So there's a little bit of aspect to that as well. Like in South Carolina, they thought about doing it, and then they reconsidered everything. And word is that Texas was looking at it, and they're starting to have remorse. So and Florida's thinking about it. They might have remorse because it's shifting a bit, which makes it very important that we have to go out and vote because the other demographics are starting to. The tide is turning for other demographics outside of us. Yeah, some of those, she's talking about the A&T Board of Trustees meeting. Some of those meetings, man, most of them end up being closed session. They used to post a link they used to post a link a lot. I would try to dial in when I could. Good evening. I agree with your points, and please address the issue of alumni giving back consistently and not just carrying the load. 5 to 7%. You'd be surprised what others, PWI counterparts, and what they give. Like a lot of their money for a lot of things they do, not just in athletics, come from corporate giving, corporate sponsorships. We just got to have a better team to go get that money. I think that's one thing that we're struggling in. We got to have a better team to go get that money with regards to that, and to go reach out to alumni too, because I don't think we're nearly where we need to be with regards to that. But 7%, and I'm not trying to say 7% is cool. For some schools, that's a pretty good number. But the problem is that we don't have the same money. And that's what makes it challenging, which is why you have to get more corporate sponsorships. Not just in athletics, because athletics, oh my God, A&T has a below 1.5% giving rate in athletics. And you know, and so, you know, when you're at 1.5%, you have a very small few of people that kind of make decisions for the athletic department. And typically you have a couple bigger people that make all the decisions for the athletic department. But part of it is because you don't give back. When it comes to changing conferences, when it comes to the direction of where you want the athletic department to go, that comes down to giving back. Like it's 5 to 7% for the university, but only less than 1.5% is going to athletics. 1.5% of people that give, it goes to athletics. So it makes it very challenging. You know, and I've pounded the table when it regards to my alma mater. Like we have to do better when it comes to giving, not just at the institution, but also in athletics. We have to do better. You can't expect winning programs if you're not giving and opening your wallet up a little bit. Like, you know, we have to do better. Yeah, that's a whole different ball game, man. For me, it's about just being aware and being active. You know, we have a lot of folks that do podcasting, but like these type of discussions don't always, you know, move the needle, so to speak, from that perspective. But those are the type of conversations that have to be had when you start talking about giving and having awareness about who's running your school, and not just what the football team score was when you beat the school down the road or A&T. Like or Southern, or if Jackson's beating Southern, you have to have some level of awareness of what's going on at your institution, who's running the show. Talk to the professors, reach out to some of the folks that you know down that work for the university, just to get an idea what is really going on down there. Because I think it's very important to be aware of that. Yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned that guy. Joel Anderson did a podcast series on Clarence Thomas, went to go meet his family, and like just to figure out how he got to where he was. Really good podcast series. It's called Slow Burn. I can't remember what season number it is, but it's pretty much a whole season on Clarence Thomas. He also did the LA riots. He did a season on the LA riots. So it's on Slate. Just look it up. You can go listen to it there. But yeah, it's called Slow Burn. Fascinating. I highly recommend it. It was actually pretty good to get an idea of how he got here, because it's very fascinating about that path of how he ended up. And I'm always like intrigued about how somebody gets to this point, to how he got to that point. Well, I mean, yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You want to try to get to the double digits, but it is huge. So then if you're saying, well, if a school has 500,000 alumni, then maybe we need to increase our enrollment, make sure more folks graduate on time. Oh, my phone is acting up. Like maybe we have to do better with regards to that and try to like increase our enrollment, graduate more students, grow the base. We're not gonna be able to catch up with them. Like I think that's clear, right? Like I think we know we're not gonna catch up with them, but there are things that we can do on our end to make it easier for us to go to those corporate sponsors. I do believe that our alumni base, I think I think the biggest challenge that we have, and this is a good discussion, I think the biggest challenge that we have is that we have to make our giving base younger. Like the average A&T donor right now is, I'll just give you an example. I have no problem to unveil the curtain here. The average A&T donor right now is in their 60s. So the folks who give back to the university, when you take all the total, who gives back, the average donor is in their 60s. The life expectancy for a Black male is 69. So when you take all those things into account, we have to shift the way that we get to our alumni base to give. We have to get younger. Like the All Aggies All In campaign is not only about trying to get more money towards athletics, but it's also about trying to also have a younger giving base. And I think we're accomplishing that. At A&T, that's what they do now. But they didn't start doing that till probably about when Chancellor Martin got there. Like they didn't really, when I was a student in the 2000s, they didn't really talk about giving back. Like I got a phone call about a little over a decade ago, and they ran, because like I would give back to the school, but not like officially. Like I would write a check I would help out some students when I come back and visit. You know what I'm saying? Like I would do stuff like that. But like I officially got on the rolls probably a little over a decade ago. But it was a phone call and a discussion with somebody that worked at the school that told me why. And that's when I started my endowment and got that fully endowed and everything else. So, you know, I do agree that you have to start with the school, with the students. But I think the bigger thing that we have to do better at, since we're in this soapbox and I'm just like sandbox and I'm just like enjoying it right now, I think the big thing we have to do is get better with our customer service. Because, you know, like we have a habit of, if you ask some folks why they don't give back to their school, they'll talk about one incident that happened with customer service, whether it was the registrar, whether it was with financial aid, whether it was something. They'll always bring something like that back up. So I think that's one thing that we have to do better at. Because, you know, it's funny, my daughter goes to Hofstra, and some of the complaints she gives me about her school is pretty much the same stuff that I went through, which is hilarious. Because, you know, there's this perception that it's so perfect somewhere else when that's not the case. Everybody, those challenges are everywhere. It's just in different colors of it, so to speak. Yeah, the fascinating thing about A&M is that they have a penalty of basketball. They have a postseason ban in basketball, and they didn't go for the waiver there as well. And I thought that was interesting. Oh boy, you don't have to get me started. A&T's website, the front of it looks very good, but when it's time to start navigating, I lose my mind. There has to be a better way. Has to be. Some people might not even agree with me, but I lose my mind when I'm trying to go through A&T's website. When I'm like trying to find something, I lose it. Like I lose it. Like I do. I lose it. It's like, it's very hard. Front page, great. I think the front page is phenomenal. But when it's time to start digging through the curtain, it gets very difficult. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And I really, I'm always going to try to push students to go to HBCUs as best as I can. I think I've been overall pretty successful at doing so. You know, so it'll be interesting. Let's see. The map at home is in limbo. Oh, wow. Also, they might, well, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fascinating with that. But yeah. Yeah, nah. Yeah, well, man, I could do a whole hour on our website. I could absolutely do a whole hour on our website with regards to that. Let me see here. I see that the softball tournament has begun for the SWAC, and it'll be interesting to see who gets out of the softball tournament. I'm not sure what happened so far. I know they played some games today and they're playing games today. They're playing games. They played games yesterday. I know all the games are on SWAC TV, which I look, man. I love the fact that SWAC TV is the thing, and I saw that Jackson State was the first one to introduce their basketball coach on SWAC TV, which I think was pretty awesome with regards to that. Let me see if I can pull up an update real quick with the softball tournament before I adjourn. All right, let's see. Let's see. I'm assuming that the score is going to be somewhere now. Softball final scores. So Texas Southern beat Jackson 4-1. Southern beat Bethune 10-1. Bama State beat Prairie View 2-1. And FAMU beat UAPB 4-1. I expect FAMU to win the whole thing, but time's going to tell there. Southern versus FAM could probably be the beeline for the final, which will be interesting. But we shall see, man. I don't know what the scores are right now. I know somebody might be, because I know 2 games have already happened today. The loser bracket's already occurred. Actually, 3 games have already been happened today. Let me see if I can find the scores for today. Let's see. Because now I'm curious. Let's see here. Open round results. SWAC Tournament Central. All right, the scores ain't here yet. I can check the. Let me see. Let me see, man. Now I'm curious. Now I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. Another West Division team goes home. Okay, so that tells me that the West is dominating right now. Yeah. I wonder if there's something's on Twitter. Let me check the chat. All right, so Jackson State's still in. Jackson State is in. Prairie View has gone home. Ooh. Let's see here. Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, Bethune beat UAPB 3-2. So that means UAPB is going fishing based on the mathematics. So yeah, so UAPB has gone home. No updates regarding what's happening on the winter side, though. But all right. All right. So yeah, man. So folks are starting to go home. Should be interesting regarding how the rest of the SWAC tournament will go. I think FAMU is going to get it done, but we'll see. Prairie View is pretty good. Prairie View is formidable as well, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And I have to hear from Dr. Cavil if Prairie View does pull it out. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Appreciate the update. Okay. Look, man, I'm gonna tell y'all something about baseball on the SWAC side, and folks might get mad when I say this, and that's fine. I need Bethune-Cookman to be in the NCAA tournament. I think they have enough to. I think they can they can shake some things up in that tournament. I need Bethune-Cookman in the NCAA tournament. That's what I need. So that's what I'm rooting for. And I think most SWAC, I know your SWAC allegiance is not going to allow you with your particular institution. However, I need Bethune-Cookman in the tournament. That's just how I feel about it. I need Bethune-Cookman in the tournament. Now, when we talk about the top 8 in baseball, though, and then I'm going to close out because I do have a couple. I got to give myself a little bit of time before MD tonight. But if we're talking about the baseball tournament and how I feel about it, I know Bethune's on a losing streak right now, but I ain't too concerned. I need Bethune in the NCAA tournament. They'll turn this thing around. Yeah, that would be dope. That would be dope if that's the case. Right now, 4, 5, 6. Right now, man, Jackson State would be the 8 seed. Right now, based on this. Pro Valley, man. Valley started 7-3 in the conference, man. That's tough. Texas Southern is leaving Alabama State 3-0. Okay. All right. Yeah, nah, you want your best team going to that tournament, man. And I think that's what Bethune-Cookman is. So I want Bethune there. Now I know Southern's been hot. I understand that Southern's been hot. But I need the ones that's been out here beating FBS programs. Beating P4 programs. Excuse me. I shouldn't even call them FBS. I need the ones that are out here beating P4 programs to make that tournament, man. Because that's the one that has the potential to do some damage. And that's who I want in the tournament. That's what I want. I know Southern's been hot. I'm not trying to discredit what Southern has done. And, Bethune right now is on a little loser streak. That's okay. But they got a big series this weekend against Alabama State and Montgomery, so I'm curious to see how that goes. 1 versus 3. Curious to see how that goes. But when you beat Florida and LSU, I need to see that in the tournament. I want to see some damage done in the tournament because there's a very good chance that they're probably going to put them against one of those schools. I'm telling you, Southern's been hot. I'm not denying how hot Southern is. Dang it, man. That ain't what I want the best team in that tournament. I'm not denying how hot Southern is. It'd be great if we can get an extra team in. If the SWAC can get an extra team in. But I don't know if their RPI is going to allow all that. I mean, I can pull up the RPI real fast. I got a little bit of time. Baseball RPI rankings. I don't think their RPI is going to be strong enough for that. So right now, if I go by the SWAC, Bethune's RPI is 199. Southern is 201. Those are close. But that's not going to be enough to make the tournament. To circle back at one of the first stories that I talked about, North Carolina State just canceled a game against A&T because of the RPI situation. Because right now, A&T has an RPI of 282. And North Carolina State has an RPI of 38. And they're worried that they're not going to be able to get in with an RPI of 38. And for reference, this is out of 308 schools. So to put in perspective of where when you get into perspective, so of where we're at with regards to RPI wise. So I can understand why North Carolina State doesn't want to play us because it's a risk. I think A&T has the lowest RPI in the CAA as well. Hampton doesn't have baseball. South Carolina State. I mean, not South Carolina State. Well, they don't have baseball either. But Tennessee State does not have baseball. Neither does Hampton. So, but yeah, 282 ain't gonna cut it. Like Campbell, to put it in perspective, Campbell has an RPI of 66, and so if they don't win the tournament, they probably won't make it in, which is unfortunate. But yeah, A&T's got the worst RPI in the conference at 282, which, funny enough, when I let me look at I got to remember, NEC is where the baseball is played for the MEAC schools. Yeah, so Norfolk Coppin, Dell State, they play in UMass, they all play in the NEC for baseball. All their RPIs are below A&T. I know the SWAC has a few that's above us, like Southern, Bethune, Alabama State, Alabama FAMU, UAPB, Grambling. You know, y'all got some pretty good baseball teams in that program, man, in that conference. So, I guess Conference USA is putting them boys in a blender, huh? How is Mr. Delaware doing in their new neighborhood? They're struggling. 231. They're 231. No, I know, man. I just want the best of the best there. I want the best team there, so that puts visibility on them if they pull the upset, puts visibility on the conference if they pull the upset. That's what I'm an advocate of. I want the best. I want when it comes to these tournaments, you want the best foot forward with regards to that. Even when it comes to like basketball, I've kind of been on the, hey, maybe the regular season champion should get the auto bid versus the tournament champion, but everybody likes chaos, man. I'm an advocate of chaos as well, but also I'm an advocate of having the best teams on the board. But if something gets there, if they're still hot, maybe they could shock the world as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show. Make sure you guys check out the ONG Strike Zone, which is coming up next on the Black College Sports Network. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at ChampD1012. I do respond. I am not a bot. I will respond to things when I see it. Make sure you also follow Dr. Kenyatta Cavil at Dr. Kenyatta Cavil on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook and Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue to move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Course, lecture, dismissed. We'll see you guys next week.